Right now, you have instant access to more sexual stimulation than your ancestors encountered in entire lifetimes. Swipe, click, repeat. And the crazy part is the more you consume, the less you feel. This isn't a moral failing, weakness, or lack of self-control. It's your 200,000-year-old brain trying to survive in a 20-year-old digital world. And it's losing. Since the 2000s, online pornography access has increased dramatically. During this period, sexual frequency among Americans has declined significantly. Weekly sexual activity among adults aged 18-64 dropped from 55% in 1990 to 37% in 2024. Erectile dysfunction rates in men under 40 have risen to approximately 14-30%. What's happening isn't just sexual repression. It's overstimulation that has created a kind of hunger that nothing can satisfy. Your reward system is being altered, and the symptoms are starting to show. To understand this, you need to know about the ventral tegmental area, a primitive structure in your midbrain that evolved millions of years ago. Our brain loves dopamine because it is associated with pleasure. And here's the catch. The brain's main source for dopamine, the ventral tegmental area, releases dopamine when you anticipate reward, not when you experience pleasure. And this changes everything. It's the seeking circuit that is the problem, not the satisfaction circuit. In the Pleistocene, this worked just fine. Sexual opportunities were rare, unpredictable, and required effort. Your brain rewarded the hunt because prey was scarce. But now, especially today, you carry a device in your pocket that offers infinite sexual gratification. Effortless, without social context, without consequences. The problem is that your brain doesn't know this is artificial. It only knows it has found the evolutionary equivalent of a gold mine. So it begins to recalibrate, to raise the threshold, to demand more intense, more novel, more extreme stimulation, just to feel what was once automatic. This isn't addiction in the traditional sense. It's neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reshape itself based on experience. And in this case, it's reshaping itself toward permanent dissatisfaction. Over the next few minutes, we'll break down how the digital age has reprogrammed the oldest circuit in human motivation. You'll understand why more is never enough, how superstimuli create neural tolerance, and why genuine satisfaction requires reconnecting with elements that technology strips away. Context, effort, authentic intimacy. You'll discover that the same neuroplasticity that made you vulnerable also gives you the power to recalibrate intentionally. Understanding the mechanics of lust doesn't eliminate desire. It gives you back the ability to control it. And in a world dominated by lust, understanding this dynamic feels like a superpower. Let's start with the question few people are asking. What happens in your brain in the moment between seeing and wanting? What happens in that moment is a neurochemical cascade that begins milliseconds before the conscious awareness of desire. To understand why this cascade fails to produce satisfaction, you first need to understand how it was designed to work, and more importantly, why the digital environment is its perfect disruptor. The brain processes lust through a network of 3 distinct components that evolved at different points in human history. The first is the wanting circuit, driven by dopamine, located in the nucleus accumbens. The second is the liking circuit, mediated by endogenous opioids, processed in the ventral pallidum. The third is the learning circuit, dependent on neurons in the hippocampus that encode reward-associated memories. But there's a critical problem. These 3 systems operate independently. It's possible to want intensely without liking. It's possible to remember pleasure without being able to recreate it. In the digital world, this desynchronization has become the norm. In 2013, neuroscientist Kent Berridge demonstrated that dopamine encodes salience, not pleasure. Salience is the measure of how much attention you should pay to something. When you see a sexually provocative image, dopaminergic neurons fire before you feel conscious pleasure. They signal, this matters. This could be a reproductive opportunity. In the ancestral environment, that signal was reliable. Seeing an attractive human body meant a real possibility of sex, connection, reproduction. Dopamine-motivated action. Approach, court, invest effort. Dopamine peaks during anticipation, not during consummation. Neuroimaging studies show that neural activity is higher when you're about to receive a reward than when you actually receive it. This served a purpose when rewards required prolonged effort. The brain needed to sustain motivation during the hunt. When you open a dating app or a porn website, dopamine fires the moment you click. The anticipation of infinite novelty. What follows are images the brain processes as real sexual opportunities, but which requires zero effort, no courtship, no reciprocity, no real consummation, just anticipatory dopamine, followed by more anticipation. You keep pulling the lever not because you're being satisfied, but because the anticipation circuit never shuts off. A 2014 study by Kuhn and Gallinat found that men who regularly consumed pornography had lower gray matter volume in the striatum, the same region affected in cocaine users. It's possible to wear down the brain's capacity to respond to reward, not through weakness, but because the system is being overloaded. The brain was calibrated for scarcity, but now operates in infinite abundance. When a reward system encounters unlimited stimulation, it desensitizes. Which brings us to the second part. What happens when you hack an evolutionary circuit with technology it could never have anticipated? In 1973, ethologist Nicholas Tinbergen won the Nobel Prize for discovering the superstimulus, an artificial stimulus so exaggerated it hijacks natural instincts. He showed that birds preferred to incubate giant, brightly colored, fake eggs over their own real ones, not because they were stupid, but because their neural circuits had evolved to respond to larger and more colorful as signals of greater reproductive value. Digital pornography and dating apps are sexual superstimuli. The brain responds just like Tinbergen's birds. The problem of pornography is that it violates three fundamental principles that have governed human sexuality for 200,000 years. To start, it removes cost. In the ancestral environment, sexual access required complex social negotiation, time investment, and the risk of rejection. The brain evolved to value rewards proportional to the effort invested. When reward is instant and costless, the valuation system collapses. It also offers unlimited novelty. The Coolidge effect, a phenomenon observed in nearly all mammals, shows that males who have lost sexual interest in a familiar partner immediately recover potency when exposed to a new female. This has an obvious evolutionary function. In the digital world, you can have infinite new partners without leaving your room. The brain fires dopamine with every click, but never reaches the satiation that would come from real sexual connection. And lastly, it decouples arousal from relational context. fMRI studies show that sex with a partner activates reward circuits, but also areas of the prefrontal cortex associated with empathy, theory of mind, and emotional bonding. Pornography activates only the primitive circuit, its reward without meaning. The result is progressive dopaminergic desensitization. If you constantly expose a thermostat to extreme heat, it recalibrates what it considers normal temperature. The brain does the same with dopamine. Researchers call this downregulation, a reduction of D2 dopamine receptors in the striatum. The fewer receptors, the greater the stimulation needed to produce the same response. Pornography users report progression toward more extreme content, not out of moral perversion, but out of a neurological need to reach the same dopamine peak. They needed more to feel less. You cannot solve this with more stimulation. The more you try to compensate for insensitivity with greater intensity, the faster you accelerate the desensitization. Which brings us to the plague of this generation. Infinite access has created infinite hunger. When we talk about lust and pleasure, there's a neurological difference between hedonic pleasure, the momentary sensation of gratification, and eudaimonic satisfaction, the lasting sense of fulfillment. Dopamine gives you the first, but only the coordinated activation of multiple brain systems, including oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, and prefrontal cortex circuits, produces the second. Digital stimuli are optimized to maximize dopamine while ignoring every other component. They give you the neural equivalent of pure sugar, instant energy with no nutrition. The more you consume, the more the brain forgets how to process real meals. In psychology, there is the concept of the hedonic treadmill, the tendency to return to a baseline level of happiness, regardless of external changes. You buy a new car, feel euphoric for weeks, and then the feeling fades and you return to normal. This happens because the brain adapts. The craving to have and the boredom of possessing. With digital sexual stimuli, something worse is happening. The baseline itself is dropping. This is active degradation. Longitudinal studies show that the greater the pornography consumption, the lower the reported sexual satisfaction with real partners. Controlled analyses suggest bidirectional causality. Pornography reduces satisfaction because it recalibrates what the brain considers normal. Real sex, with its imperfections, negotiations, fluctuations in desire, and need for communication, cannot compete with digital hypernormality. Prolonged pornography consumption is also associated with reduced gray matter in the orbitofrontal cortex, the area responsible for reward evaluation and decision-making. You lose the ability to accurately assess the value of natural rewards. The valuation system has been hijacked. It's similar to what happens with substance dependence. Ordinary food has no taste. Common activities hold no interest because the brain has been recalibrated to an artificial peak that nothing in real life can replicate. You may be surrounded by opportunities for authentic sexual connection, but the brain processes them as insufficient, not because you are broken or deviant, but because neuroplasticity, the power of adaptation, has been turned against you. And then we think, are we stuck? Condemned to desensitized brains chasing rewards that never satisfy? The same neuroplasticity that created the problem is also the tool to solve it. The solution is intentional reconnection with the elements that digital stimuli have stripped away. Neuroplasticity allows the digital environment to reprogram reward circuits, but it also means you can reprogram them back, not to their original state, but to a new functional equilibrium. This is the intentional design of environment and behavior to leverage the same mechanisms that created the problem. The science of neural recovery is clear. Synaptic plasticity can be bidirectional, but it requires a specific strategy. First, understand the concept of dopamine fasting, not in the pop culture sense of avoiding all pleasure, but in the neuroscientific sense of reducing the density of artificial rewards to allow D2 receptors to recover. Studies in animal models show that after a period of abstinence from superstimuli, upregulation occurs, an increase in dopamine receptor density. This restores sensitivity. In humans, accounts from men who quit pornography for more than 90 days consistently describe a reset, the return of arousal to normal stimuli. This is literally the brain recalibrating its response thresholds. Second, replace low-effort rewards with high-effort rewards. Dopamine encodes both reward and the effort invested to obtain it. When you exercise intensely, the brain releases dopamine because it recognizes a legitimate ancestral pattern. Physical effort historically predicted reward, a successful hunt, elevated social status. You are retraining the valuation system to associate dopamine with real effort rather than costless clicks. Studies on exercise show that it increases D2 receptor density and improves dopaminergic regulation. You are rebuilding neural hardware. Third, understand that recalibration is a process. There will be compulsive urges, not for sex, but for anticipatory dopamine. The brain will protest. This is normal. It's the extinction of conditioned behavior. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Neurons that stop firing together, disconnect. You are dismantling synapses that link boredom, pornography, and temporary relief, and building new ones. Discomfort, meaningful activity, and lasting satisfaction. It takes time to detect changes in brain structure, but neuroplasticity guarantees it's possible. Every choice, every click, every hour spent, every real partner you overlook in favor of screens is literally sculpting the structure of your reward system. Now, to summarize everything, lust is not your enemy. Lust is an evolutionary navigation system guiding you toward connection, reproduction, intimacy. The challenge isn't desire itself, but the hijacking of that system by stimuli that promise satisfaction and deliver only the need for more seeking. You don't need to destroy desire. You need to reconnect desire with the neural circuits that evolved to make it fulfilling. The goal is not to return to some pre-digital state, That's impractical and unnecessary. The goal is to create a new equilibrium where technology serves your well-being, not the other way around. And I gotta be honest, understanding the neuroscience of lust does not make desire any less mysterious or powerful. You don't control every synapse, but you can shape the environment in which synapses grow or weaken. And that is enough power to create a life that is not just exciting, but genuinely satisfying. Power to feel desire without being consumed by it. Power to experience pleasure without being a prisoner of the pursuit of pleasure. If this video changed the way you see lust, leave a like so more people can access this perspective. The neuroscience of pleasure is rarely discussed in an honest, non-moralizing way. You can help change that and subscribe to the channel to explore other neural mechanisms that govern human behavior in ways you probably never imagined. Until the next video, and remember, your brain is being shaped right now. The only question is, who's holding the tools?